Could I complain about Nago for a bit? Is that a... Oh my god. Alright. What I learned about myself is that I don't know fucking anything, man. What? Is that normal? Is that okay? Is that okay, we think? Thoughts? Thoughts? Was he wasn't even at 3 blood, no? Oh my god, I couldn't get a proper punish. It's fine. Oh my god. I feel like we gotta agree that Nago right now is a little bit too belligerent. This is not to say that he's like the worst character in the game right now, or the best character, you know, the most overpowered or something. Arguably he's not, but I feel like he's more interesting to talk about right now than somebody like Leo or Pot, who are arguably better, but they have been better in the past season, because he didn't get that many buffs, technically. Like on paper, if you actually look at the list of buffs that he got, they're actually kind of small. One that people don't talk about is that he has more health now in high blood. So if he's at level 1 blood or level 2 blood, he has a little bit more health than he had before, but it's still like relatively low. He also gets back more blood when he makes you block. Other than that, in terms of the system, he actually got nerfed. His command grab can now be teched. His close slash doesn't catch people as easily. You can still catch like if they're decently close to the ground, but you see like it just kind of whiffs. So fuzzy jumping became stronger, I mean, in general in the game, but particularly against him, who relies on the command grab to reset his resource. So truly, you might have seen the Hatashi tweet. What changed? Nago didn't even change that much. Why are people suddenly thinking that he's so good? No, not Nago tutorial. This is not a Nago tutorial. This is a Nago roast. Actually, you know what? I can give you a quick Nago tutorial. You basically do this, and then you do this. Okay? You put them in the corner and you do this. Slam 5H as much as fucking possible. Because one of the buffs that they did give him, actually, they made this faster. At 3 blood, it used to be, I believe, 18 frames. Now it is 16. So it is absurdly fast for a button that is so huge and does so much damage. And I feel like the reason why this character in particular has become so obnoxious in this version of the game is because they nerfed like every other character's conversion ability. So a lot of characters can't convert the way that they used to. Think like Ramlethal can't convert mid-screen as well. Characters like Testament off of their far slash get basically nothing. Like you just hit far slash and that's it. There's nothing you can do. Abba used to convert off of like counter hit 5H. And now if she hits you at the tip of the 5H, she gets basically nothing. If you counter hit with Nago, this happened to me like just as I was playing a Nago earlier today. Like let's say you get counter hit by like his 2H or something because you're trying to jump out, or maybe you're just at this distance and you're like pressing a button or trying to do some, you know, projectile nonsense, right? If you get hit with this button, do you see the reward he gets? In a version of the game where conversions are a lot harder to come by and optimal damage is harder to get, he can basically do like a pot buster and a half from full screen. He just pot busters you from like from half a screen away. And this is further enabled by the fact that he's kind of going against the resource like philosophy of this patch, where they made resource harder to obtain for Abba, harder to maintain for Asuka, changed and sort of harder to like maintain and loop with Happy Chaos. So a lot of these resource-based characters got their resources kind of toned down a little bit, if not just obliterated for some of them. Whereas Nago got a health buff when he's at high blood, and also got a plus on block full screen low that puts him in his optimal blood level. The reason why this is so fucked up is that this basically behaves like a super, you know? Like Happy Chaos had, or still has technically, super focus. And he could go into super focus, say he presses like 6H, or 6S on you, and then presses super focus, and he's plus, and he regains his concentration immediately. But that costs half a bar and puts the highest amount of meter penalty, so he cannot gain meter for quite a long time after that. Nago gets this for free, and the less blood he had at the start, the longer the effect lasts. So it lasts for a very, very long time, actually, right? You can see it expired right now, just now. And look how fast he's able to do it again. How fast he comes out. I can do it again. So he spends more time in it than out of it, basically, if he chooses to. And it's a full screen low that is plus on block. And a lot of characters can do nothing to prevent him from going in this mode. So like, for example, if we look at this situation, right? If he just does this, a lot of characters can't even call it out. The supposed counterplay that you have to this move is, oh, it has a bunch of startup, right? Because it's like 29 frames or whatever. You're not calling, I'm sorry. Like if you just do some kind of like jump in at it on reaction, like you're not reacting to this. You know what I mean? Like the best you can hope for is to call it out preemptively. So contesting it is extremely hard. Like, let's say we put, I don't know, after block, Jacko does far slash or some shit, right? So let's say she's in this position. You're not gonna get out of this, right? There's like some characters that have a highly like specific way of dealing with this particular situation. Right? She can't do the sweep here either. So Kaikisuke with his stun dipper that is 7 frames active can do something about it. If you observe Nago pressing his 2S and then you immediately follow it up with stun dipper as soon as you block it, you might be able to beat the startup of this move. But you have to be on fucking point to do that. And also, Nago can just do anything out of it. Like, he can just do a billion different other options that will beat the stun dipper. Or he could just block it if he's spaced enough and punish you and kill you for it. First of all, he can make you lose on block, kind of. So he like puts you in this situation and now you have to RPS, right? Everything he does after this is RPS. He doesn't necessarily have high-low mix here. That's true. But he does have stagger pressure that chips away and does a lot of risk build up. So like your only option really is to burn through your meter as much as possible to avoid getting chipped out, or just learn the IB timings of everything, which in my opinion is like the counterplay is a lot harder than the play. You know, it's a lot easier to go in with Nago and just do a bunch of like belligerent stuff and then like just hope that the next time you get in, you're able to get like a throw off them and then your blood completely resets. And then you're able to go in again and then you're able to do whatever you want again. And then they don't have any meter, so they can't FD anymore. And then you just do this on them like over and over again, right? You just go in, and then you deplete their health bar, right? Or without them being able to do anything. Like, this is a hypothetical block string that I just did that had, the only gap that it had is basically me doing the plus on block, like, install and doing a throw at the end, which, like, you feasibly can sneak in against your opponents unless they're, like, really prepared for it. Or you can just, like, space yourself and then do this and then go back in and then, like, do the throw to reset blood at your discretion at any point. And your opponent, if they're not FDing or IBing, will just die without them being able to do anything against it. So he is able to do that, but on top of that, the actual way that he gets wins is by just getting stray hits. Like, you have to play perfectly. You have to make sure that you're not hit by a stray at any point at all when the stray is looking like that, right? The stray hit looks like this, and you have to just make sure that you're never vulnerable in range of this. So personally, what I would do is I would just adjust his blood gauge. I feel like right now it's just in such an unhealthy place, especially because of this move, particularly because of this move, the credit card. It's just kind of ridiculous how well he can manage his resource if he wants to, although a lot of Nago players don't because they're too impatient and they just go ham, and that's like the main way that a Nago loses is if he just like kills himself, basically, which is not a proper weakness, right? That's not an actual weakness. It just means that the player has to be like not completely belligerent. And then secondly, I feel like the damage that he gets is just, it just has no place in the current version of the game. The fact that like this is without RC, this is damage that I can do without Roman cancel is crazy. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Meterless. That's, you know, there's also like one extra bit that I think is just funny. It's hard to say that it's like awful and like, oh my God, they need to fix this right now. But if we look at his blood rage itself, he does lose a lot of health in it, right? Of course, you lose like 80% or something while in it. So it's almost certain death. What I find interesting is that it kind of goes into my theory of they just forgot Nago when they balanced this patch of the game, because He still has the damage. He still like converts fine. And he still has a reversal that he can PRC. The old school PRC super. Like he has the old one that costs only 1 bar. So he can super and then PRC it and have the invuln frames, which I think is really funny. And don't get me wrong, right? The reward he gets from this is not huge because they did introduce a PRC nerf that, you know, reduces the damage you get off of PRC. Right? So like he doesn't get nearly as much damage. But one instance where I think it actually does matter is... Huh? There we go. He can RC it and get more damage. So that was almost a TOD off of a reversal, right? I don't think that's right. You know, is it an extremely common situation? Like, not really, right? But, you know. But, like, he can just win the game, you know? Even though it's not a super common situation. To me, it feels like an oversight, and it's just, like, an example. I just feel like they didn't think through the changes enough. So, I don't know. I hope they make changes to him. This is not to doom or say that, like, you can't win against this character. And certainly he has, like, matchups that are a little bit tough. But I like, the current way that he is just so... I'm not saying you should kill him or whatever. Like, he's, you know, he deserves to be a character and he should do more damage than average. Like, that's part of what the character is. You just gotta make like a few adjustments. Okay, just a little bit, man. Just a bit. Because of the way that he is right now, he's just too volatile, you know? He's just like, it causes a lot of like frustrating situations in my opinion. Yeah, no, this video could have been about Leo if I didn't find him less interesting to talk about.